Hey kids, it's the Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome to Silverstone, where I've just been to KTM UK to pick up this. This is the beast, the 2020 KTM SuperDuke R. An absolute beast of a bike, and I've literally just jumped onto it, so I'm going to give you my first impressions review. So if you're interested in this machine, stick around and stay tuned. Okay, so I was keen to very much bring you what my first thoughts were as soon as I jumped on this bike. I've literally just picked it up. KTM UK, as I say, is where I got it from, and they're just down the road from Silverstone. I've not even ridden this for a mile yet. It's been just serviced. It's got a brand new tyre on the back. It's as good as a brand spanker. Absolute beast of a bike. I love the way that the SuperDuke R looks. And for 2020 it's had an awful lot of changes as well. So I'm going to review this, do my normal first impressions review as if I've never ridden a SuperDuke R before, because if you're in the market for one of these, the chances are you may not have ridden the previous bike, so there's no point in me comparing it with the old bike. Let's just talk about this one. So the first thing that struck me as I jumped on it is the riding position. Of course this is a naked bike, but the riding position on it is quite aggressive for a naked. Your legs are tucked right up and you are leant forward quite a way, which actually I rather like, because for a bike with this sort of performance you do need to be able to brace yourself against the wind, so it's absolutely spot on. It's not as extreme a position as a full-on sports bike, but it's much more sporty than other of these super nakeds that I've ridden to date. Well, I've got a car behind me. I'm just going to test the brakes. Oh, brakes are beautiful on this. Now this particular machine that I'm riding, as is often the case with press bikes, is the sort of top spec one. It's got everything enabled. It's got the track pack and the performance pack all enabled. It's got an Akrapovic silencer on it, so I'm being spoilt by the facilities. It's got, this is the sort of top SuperDuke R that you could buy, but it rides beautifully, I have to say. It's not, you know, riding, I've just covered this 30-mile-an-hour zone, so just riding slowly in second gear here. Fueling is lovely. There's no judder, smooth as you like. I really like that. Now, having said, I wasn't going to talk much about the changes on this bike over the previous one. This bike, I must mention, this bike has got a brand new frame. It uses the engine now as a stressed member, a bit like things like the Panigale do. The engine has been radically reworked in terms of its tune to make it more road friendly. And just on this short ride so far, back into the Nationals, I could tell that the bike is just, they've really paid attention to making it a road focused bike. That slow speed handling was beautiful. Alright, let's think about the comfort there. We've talked about the riding position. What about the seat? Well, I'm often, and pretty much always, critical of that KTM seats, because they're usually pretty hard. And this one, yeah, I suppose it is hard as well, but they've done quite a nice job on it. It's got a weirdish, well, I say weird, it's got a squidgy sort of material, he says, feeling it while I'm riding on it, and actually it doesn't feel uncomfortable. Okay, I've not ridden the bike for a long period of time yet. I need to ride it for longer to see how it fares on longer rides. But it feels like a comfortable place to be. And you can move around on it a bit as well, which is always, I think, a great thing, because it means, you know, if you are on a longer ride, you can shift around and give yourself a bit of relief if you've got any aches and pains coming on. So yeah, comfort of the seat is really nice. Mirrors on here work a treat. Great situational awareness behind me, great view. I'm glad to see these stalks up. They've got proper metal stalks on here without those horrible rubber gaiters that KTM sometimes do. And the other thing that's staring me in the face literally is this new TFT with this groovy KTM orange background. I don't know if you can change the orange if you don't like that. I quite like it actually. This particular bike is orange and dark blue, and that the orange face just goes with the bike and it's sort of beast nature. Oh, in fact it's gone white now. I wonder why that is. Maybe it meant I should change gear. That's probably what that is. I'll read the manual at some point and find out. Let me in fact just go a bit faster. No, it's not a gear change thing. It might have been because I was going through the trees. Maybe that was night mode. Anyway, I'll find out in the fullness of time, because I have got this bike for a few weeks. I will learn more about it, so stick around and stay tuned to the channel if you want to learn more about this, because I will post up a lessons learned video towards the end of my period with it, and I'll let you know all the things I've learned about the bike, not just the good things but the bad things too, because because there's bound to be some, although so far I haven't noticed anything. This has got the quick shifter, which is really beautiful. Let's just wind her up down here a bit. This is a bit of a bumpy road, but it's dead straight. Wow! Oh yes! Oh boy! Is this a bike that puts a grin on your face? I tell you what though, at speed it feels dead planted. And this riding position of being canted forward means you can hold on nice and easily. The wind blast isn't that bad. I'm really lucky to have it today because I'm recording this in the middle of August and it's we're going through a heat wave. It's forecast to be about 32 degrees today. It's already about 28, so I've got these lovely warm sticky roads. So even though I've got a brand new tyre on the back, she is feeling nice and grippy. Actually the suspension, better slow down now, I'm back in the 30. The suspension on here, even though that road is particularly bumpy, feels really nice. And again, look, here we are, 28 miles an hour. Second gear, beautiful fueling on here, really, really nice. I'm liking this a lot. Okay, next thing to talk about on here is the switch gear, because this is completely different to anything I've seen on a KTM before. In terms of its looks, I mean, it's functionally it's the same as everything else, but I mean, look at this selection pad here. I really like that. It looks great, and it feels quite nice to use as well. This is the sort of what I call LED switch gear, but they've done a nice job in making it obvious when you've pressed the button, so they've got a bit more tactile feedback than some other bikes I've ridden. I like that, and I very much like the way that the KTM controls the TFT using this switch pad, second only to BMW's whiz wheel thing. So much better than using a joystick. Oops, it's just technically I went the wrong way around the roundabout there, but never mind. Yeah, switch gear works really nicely, and it's all quite intuitive the way this works. That's what I like about it as well. New TFT as well on here now, really clear. KTM TFT, I'm not a big fan of TFTs generally, but I accept why manufacturers do it. They're probably cheaper to put on than DARs, and you can obviously add lots more functions, and this bike has got loads of electronics. But as TFTs go, if you've got to have one, then the KTM one is very, very nice. First white van of the day, excellent. Now I have ridden SuperDukes in the past, and I generally do love the SuperDuke, I have to say. But you know, they can be, or the previous bikes could have been a little bit at these sort of speeds, a bit like riding a jackhammer, particularly I'm in third now, look, doing 28, so really I should be in second. But even at this speed, I've not got any of those terrible vibrations that you would get on previous iterations. It's just really lovely. I'm in danger of being a bit gushing about a KTM here. I need to be a bit careful. Now if you're going to have a KTM, it has to be orange really, and I noticed when I picked this up there are a few SuperDuke Rs in there. I'm so chuffed to get the orange one, because I think this looks the best out of all of them. If you're going to go for one of these full-on in-your-face bikes, you might as well have the orange one. But what I like about it for this 2020 model is it's got this blue colour with it as well. Previously it was black. I just think this blue looks really cool. So through town there, beautiful handling. You could use this every day as a commuter if you wanted to. You wouldn't have any issues at all. Clutch on here, it's not particularly light, but that doesn't matter. It works well. And anyway, you don't use it that much because the quick shifter is so good on here, both up and down. Really nice quick shifter. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything to the bike that it doesn't want to do. Some quick shifters on older bikes feels like you're graunching all the gears up, whereas this just snicks in nicely. They've really come on, quick shifters, in the last 5 years. Right, I need to either lose all this traffic and enjoy me riding a bit, or find somewhere to stop and talk you through the spec, whichever comes first. Now I've yet to ride the new Ducati Street Fighter, the V4, their new Super Naked. I'm pleased to say I will be borrowing one of those in a few weeks time though, so it'll be interesting to compare how this stacks up against the Ducati. I have to say the Ducati's got to be pretty flipping good though to be better than this. I shall find out in a few weeks time and report back. does feel lovely and light, this bike. Super flickable, as you'd expect. Oh, I see, we've got a JCB that's holding us up. Nothing behind. Oh, solid white lines caught me out. Oh, I've got a mean reflection in this Mercedes in front of me. Probably not near enough to see it in the GoPro. But I love the waspy front light on here. And I am looking cool, it has to be said. Take my word for it there. That's if a 50-something bald fella on a motorbike can look cool. I think I do, and that's the main thing. Right, we're losing this solid white line around this corner, so I might be able to get past. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. And that doesn't take long. Oh, this is a sweet machine. Suspension on here is fully adjustable WP, as you'd expect, but I assume this is just on factory settings. For me, it just feels lovely. It's not really hard like some of these super nakeds could be. They sort of shake your feelings out, but this is just on the right side of that, if you see what I mean. The handling is lovely, so it is quite stiff. It's not so stiff that it's uncomfortable. I don't feel like I'm bouncing around all over the place on it. Oh, through these big sweepy curves, it's just beautiful. These are great roads for this bike. Nice and wide and quite smooth. Just a little bit cognizant of the fact I've got that brand new tyre on the back. But it is warm, as I say. It's one of those bikes that just eggs you on to ride it fast. Quick shifter even down the box works beautifully. What's it like to find neutral? Easy peasy. Nice. Right, feet. I'm right on my tippy toes, look here. Both sides. It does feel quite tall to me. It's something like 835 millimeters. I'm 5'8" with a 32-inch inseam, so I'm a smallish chap. But because it's so light, it doesn't feel intimidating at stop at all. So even though I'm on the tippy toes, that's not a problem. But it is a relatively tall bike. If you're any shorter than me, you might want to have a sit on one before committing yourself to one. Alright, what I've got to do is find somewhere good that I can stop up, get the other camera out and show you around this bike. I'll speak to you shortly. So this is the lovely little town of Winslow. I'm hoping I can just park the bike over here and do a walk round without embarrassing myself too much, because you always feel a bit of a nonce. Oop, just in a no entry. Sorry. Always feel a bit of an idiot doing this in public. Anyway, let's stick it here for a bit. See if we can get away with it. Right, I'm not on any disabled bits, although I did go in a no entry. I apologise to all the police that are watching. I won't do it again. Right, so it's keyless on this, so to kill it, there we go, kill switch. And to turn it completely off, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's that. There we go, makes sense. Alright, let me show you this thing then, because I do think it looks absolutely beautiful. It's one of those bikes, and look at this in this orange and blue, beautiful. It's one of those bikes that looks like it's fast even when it's turned off. Really nice. Alright, let me get the other camera out and I'll talk you through the spec in the usual way. Okay, here she is then, and to give it her full title, it's the 2020 KTM 1290 SuperDuke R. As I say, I think it's a beautiful looking machine now, particularly with this lovely blue. Okay, let's start anyway with the engine, and here we can see the new frame as well. That engine is, as I say, a stressed member, part of that. The engine, 1301cc LC8 V-twin, as I say, used as a stressed member a la Panigale and other bikes like that. Apparently it's 3 times stiffer than the previous bike. It certainly feels lovely in terms of its handling, but I'm not a good enough rider to really appreciate the difference, but it certainly looks cool. Power wise, 177 brake horsepower at 9,500 RPM, so absolutely loads of power. 140 newton meters of torque, and as I mentioned, they've changed the maps on this so that the torque gives you it more mid-range, so it makes the bike much more friendly on the road, and it does feel lovely as a road bike, I have to say, although I'm sure it's great on the track as well. Brakes on here, let's come down, we're going to show you, here we go, the Brembo Stylema is the best brakes you can currently get on 320mm discs, and on the back we've got 2-pot Brembos. We've got this single-sided swing arm, and there you can see the caliper hidden away, and there's that Akrapovic that this one's got. I have to say the sound out of it is a little bit disappointing so far, but then I haven't absolutely thrashed it. But yeah, the sound is the one thing on the bike I don't like so far. Suspension, as I mentioned, fully adjustable WP. We can see the little reservoir under there. It's their Apex suspension, and it feels beautiful. Seat height on here, I was right, 835mm, so on the tall side I guess, but the waist on it is quite narrow, so it does help you get your feet down. And there's the padding on the seat, which actually is more comfortable than it looks. They've obviously done something to their padding. I quite like that seat actually, but I need to do a longer journey to see how that would work out. In terms of weight, 189 kilograms dry. So a very light bike for a bike with an engine of this size. The fuel tank though, quite small, 16 litres on here. So although it looks massive, probably not much of that is actually fuel, and I imagine it will suck through that pretty quickly. Electronics wise, it's absolutely laden with them. I won't go through them all now, but you name it, it's got it. One of the things I do like about this is the new revised wasp-like light on the front. I do like these on KTM, they do split opinions, but now look, it's got this big slit down the middle of the heatsink, and that acts as a sort of an air intake, so really multifunctional. That they've built in that heatsink, which is this bit, and made it an air intake as well, so very clever bit of engineering that, which I happen to think looks good as well. What else to say? Keyless ignition, cruise control is standard. You pay extra for the quick shifter and for the track pack and the performance track. It's got that new TFT. Well, let me just show you that switch gear a bit closer up. Here we go. It's sort of, it's weird. If you look at it side on, you can see that it sticks proud. I can control my finger through the camera. And the same on this side with the little selectors. You see how these are sort of proud here. But it works really, really well. I like that. It's a definite improvement. Price of the bike, according to the website, $15,699, which actually is quite expensive. Some of its rivals, things like the MT10, the S1000R, the Aprilia Tuono, are a little bit cheaper. However, the Ducati Street Fighter that I mentioned earlier is a little bit more expensive. So this is, you know, top end of the Super Nakeds. But you know, it really feels like a premium bike. In terms of colours, comes in the orange and this blue or the black, but I think the orange looks fab. Alrighty, that's probably it for the spec and the walk round for now. Let's jump on and ride her some more. Yeah, it's really got quite some presence, this bike on the road. As I say, even when it's just standing here, it looks like it's quick, doesn't it? It is a beast. Looks like it's about to pounce, and I really do like this colour scheme. Okay, right, let's fire up again. So how do we do that? Perhaps that? No, that? Oh yeah, okay, so you hit the little lock again to bring it alive, and then start it in the usual way. Right, let's go out the right way this time. So it is a little bit of an intimidating looking bike, and on the spec sheet it sounds intimidating, but actually when you ride it, it's a pussycat. It's not hard to ride at all. They seem, you know, they've achieved that miracle of taming a beast and making it a puppy in terms of being able to ride it. So don't be afraid of it. My overwhelming first impressions of this is that it's just a lovely bike. Other than the sound of that pipe, which is nothing special, thank you, there's nothing I've seen about this bike yet, or felt, having ridden it now for what, half an hour or so, that I don't like about it. Time will tell, because as I say, this is my latest long-termer, so if you're interested in the 1290 SuperDuke R, stick around to the channel. There'll be lots more videos coming over the next few days and weeks, where I try and get under the skin of the bike a bit more and just explore what it can and can't do. But just on a first ride, if this was a test ride and I was in the market for one of these, I think I'd be sold, because it's just a feel-good bike. Actually, when you wind it up a bit more, the exhaust doesn't sound so bad. But yeah, it seems comfortable. It's got an aggressive seating position, which I actually quite like. It's just right for me. I like the, as I say, the switch gear's good, the mirrors work, the brakes are supreme, it looks cool, it goes well. It is quite pricey, but you know, that's the sort of bike it is. That's the market you're in. It feels very much a premium machine. The fit and finish about it, you know, is lovely. Very, very nice. Alright, a huge thanks to KTM UK for lending me the bike, and I look forward to riding it some more, as I say, and bringing you some more videos in due course. So if you haven't done so already, do hit that subscribe button. That way I can speak to you on the next video. It'd be great to have you along. Oh, there's an opportunity, look, to get by this car. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to enjoy my ride home. I'll speak to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. Flyer. Cheerio. Man, sports mode is sporty, and those brakes work good when you need them. Oh, white van. What can I say?